Hello and welcome. My name's Lewis and this is my new YouTube channel, ELM Gaming. So this channel is just a personal space for me to talk about gaming. I'm treating it like a diary. It's just a wee bit of a passion project to talk about, something, a hobby that I'm interested in. And another reason that I want to mainly make this is to try and improve some of my content creation skills. There is so many different digital tools and things to use these days that I thought it'd be interesting to make the most of that and try it out. So please, none of this is me trying to become a famous YouTuber or, chasing subscriber counts. If I get 2 or 3 people listening to me, I'd be quite happy with that. That's 2 or 3 more people than usual listening to me ramble about stuff. But there is 3 main focuses for this gaming channel. So the first one is about UK game collecting. So I get into game collecting way more than 15 years ago, picking up things as I was into my teens and 20s, basically buying games that I couldn't when I was really young. So I've played loads of games, collected loads over the years, sold plenty as well. And as much as I don't buy as much, I've got a house now, I've got life priorities. I still like to pick up things from time to time. So on this channel then I want to talk about what is the current state of collecting in the UK, because it's very, very different to when I was really into the hobby about 15 years ago. I'll talk about where I find things, maybe give you some tips on what to look out for. And one of the main things I want to do is show off some of the new gaming stuff that I buy and reflect on them as well. So hopefully some unboxing videos and just random pickups. So it's a hobby I love and I just want to share that kind of enthusiasm that I've got for it. So the second part of the channel is about retro reflections. So I'm obsessed with older games. I do love current series of games and consoles, but there's a lot of things that I feel that the older games do better, or I hold more nostalgia for. So I'll talk a lot about series that I love and hopefully pass on that enthusiasm. I'll talk about maybe some hidden gems or underappreciated titles. And I'll talk about what holds up and what doesn't, and why certain games still matter. Because as you can imagine, lots of games these days are online. They are full of microtransactions, and they are absolute behemoths of games with hundreds of millions of dollar budgets. But going back sometimes to some of the older games, they hold up extremely, extremely well. So I want to try and highlight some of those. And my third main kind of area is talking about then modern gaming thoughts. My God, we know after news recently about Sony refusing to make discs from 2028, there's a bleak sort of landscape ahead, especially if this channel's focused on game collecting. So so lots of thoughts about kind of a sort of digital only consoles, the way subscription models are these days, that shift from physical media. But there is a lot of positives. I've been playing on the Xbox Series X. I've used Game Pass for years, and there is so much positives that I can say about, the kind of modern games where there is quality of life and big blockbuster action and stuff in there that has just never been done before. So I've got a lot of positives to say there, although probably a lot of kind of hot takes as well about where things are going. Very quickly, I'll just say about how I'm trying to make these videos. So they're going to be mostly audio focused, and I'm doing that because I want this to be a simple and straightforward process that's sustainable. The moment I need to go away and spend hours collecting videos, recording, playing loads of things, it's just not going to be a fun hobby for me. So what I'll do is get a lot of my thoughts down using audio, and I'll use the occasional graphics on the video. So I would suggest maybe, grabbing a beer, going out a walk, getting the headphones on, do whatever, play some games, have this on in the background and kind of just join along with me as I talk about maybe subjects that you'd be interested in hearing about. Kind of 5, 10, 15 minute sort of, at most, sort of content videos about series, consoles and everything in between. And as I say, I'm trying to use a wee bit more of the modern tools. I'm using things like Canva to create some interesting graphics. There will be no AI slop, and there'll be absolutely no AI-driven scripts. What I'm planning to do is record my thoughts using my phone, and then using AI to maybe tidy up what I've said, cut down on a bit of the noise, because my God, I like to ramble. So using these kind of things, it's working smarter, not harder, I think. And then that'll keep me from, not being able to make as many videos as I would like. So speaking of, just to finish, I do have a couple of upcoming videos. I thought a great place to start would be I've recently purchased a PlayStation 3, so I cannot wait to show that off and talk about some of the games I've got, because this is the perfect example of why I've set this channel up, to talk about collecting, to talk about old games, and to talk about deals and how I got it. So that's pretty exciting. Definitely want to talk about Game Pass. I recently ended my subscription not too long ago after years. And I've got a Steam Deck as well, which I've had a lot of fun with in terms of playing more modern titles and being able to play a lot of things through emulation. So it's a pretty good place to start. So as I say, that's my plan, just to kind of final closing thoughts. Game collecting in the UK, try and give you some tips and some advice on things like that. Reflect on some of the oldies, and then certainly look at kind of modern stuff, all delivered in that simple, sort of audio-focused format. If you like the sound of any of those things, then I do hope you'll kind of stick around. As I say, I'm not here for a big subscriber count, but if I do have a few people tuning in, that would be really appreciated. So please feel free to feel free to subscribe. Sounds like such a weird thing to be saying that at this part of my life, asking people to subscribe. But again, as I say, I hope you'll tune along as I kind of talk about a hobby that I'm really passionate about. And hopefully, in a few months' time, the quality will be better, and I'll be better with some of the tools that I'm using. So thanks very much, and again, I'll see you soon. Thank you.